He's San Jose's creative ambassador. We're talking about Tijuana Rick Ricardo Cortez. He's our guest here on Comunidad Valle. Talk about a special project involving youth. Ricardo, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Damian. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Well, tell us first about the moniker Tijuana Rick. What's that all about?
Just some crazy college experiences that I decided to turn into a name.
Okay, enough said. We'll end it there because I
Yeah.
know. Well, tell us about what it takes and what the job duties are of a creative ambassador for the city of San Jose.
Right. So, with the support of the Cultural Affairs Department, they selected 6 creative ambassadors, including myself, to launch creative art programs for community workshops. So every artist has their own spin on what their program is going to entail, or their series of programs. And mine is focused on combining lowrider culture, lowrider history with art, technology, and giving that a nice, unique spin during my program.
All right, and we're looking at the video that your office provided. This is you provided. This is part of what the students can expect at some of these workshops. Talk about what exactly they'll be doing here.
Right. So I actually have an upgraded example, but what it is it's a light box with lights inside of it that react to sound, and it's based off of a technology from the 1960s, but it's also a very popular accessory for lowriders. And so what we're going to do is understand the components that go into building an art object like this. And then the students will also have an opportunity to collage artwork over that screen that you saw, where they can create their own unique pieces of artwork that will then be illuminated by the sound reactive lights inside.
Wow, and I would imagine that when you saw this opening at City Hall for a creative ambassador, it was right up your alley.
Yeah, this is the culmination of like all of my passions of combining art, my lowrider culture, my Chicano identity, and my love for technology as a digital media artist. And so when I submitted the proposal, I put my all into that to try and get selected. And fortunately, they saw some promise in me to launch a program.
All right, and we're looking. This is a great, just the way that you're walking us through on this video in making that digital art that you were talking about. I mean, it's a sense of fulfillment, right? Once the children or the youth are able to wrap up their project and showcase it.
Right. So there's one thing about going through the process of building the artwork, but there's also another component of understanding and be able to explain everything that goes into these circuits, every component, what it does, and its relationship to each other. So a student not only having the ability to create something with their hands, but also to be able to talk about that to their friends or to their parents and plug it in and have it, start to dance and react to sound. I can see that as being, a really great experience for them. And just, I can't wait to see their eyes light up and see these things come to life at the end of the workshop.
Yeah, raise that up if you will. You were off camera when you were trying to show us, but tell us what you have there. That's
Right.
the end
So
product.
here's an example of one of the light boxes. So they'll get this, 8-inch cardboard box and all of the components that go inside of it. And you see that they're reacting to my sound, but if you put a speaker next to it, they'll also react. And so they'll get all of these components. They'll get everything free of charge. Nothing. There's no cost to any participant of this program.
I've never seen anybody, Ricardo, combine low riding culture with STEM, but that's
Yeah,
kind of what you're doing here.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, STEM education is the future. That's where the innovation comes from. And so these students are the ones that are going to be continuing the traditions of, hopefully low riding, the traditions of Chicano culture, but then with this unique twist of STEM and how that's going to propagate through the future. What kind of creative artwork are they going to be able to create in the future as they continue their journeys?
Oh, that's beautiful. And tell us, give us the runs, hits, and errors. How many classes? How long are the classes? How do you sign up?
Right. So there's a series of 10 classes. Participants only have to go through one class. Every class is exactly the same. So the goal is to work with 100 students over the course of 10 sessions. They start at the end of May and they run about every 2 weeks through October. And in October, I plan on having a community art show and car show, pretty much in the same location as the classes.
Wow.
And it's about it's a 4 hour time commitment on a Saturday.
And you have to limit it to 10 kids per class, right? Otherwise, you want that focus to be on those individual kids.
That's correct. So 10 students per class, and they can bring one adult with them. So it's both an adult and child or youth experience. So 20 people per class
All
maximum.
right. Okay. And what's the fee for that, Ricardo?
It's free and 100% free. All you have to do is sign up, show up, and be ready to learn and make something cool.
You said the magic word that we love that word on Comunidad Valle, free. If you want more information, you want to sign up your kids for this great low riding culture project on Comunidad Valle, we're going to show you the web address for more information. It's 408art.com. We'll be back here on the show with Tijuana Rick. Stay with us. We're back with San Jose's creative ambassador here on Comunidad del Valle. And why low riding? Why did you choose that topic as something as an art form that you felt the youth should learn more of, Ricardo?
Yeah, so I mean, low riding for me, it's embedded in San Jose culture. Lowrider magazine started at San Jose State and went worldwide from there. And so San Jose really means a lot, or should mean a lot, to the lowrider community, not only here, but globally. I've been lowriding since the 1990s. And for me, as an artist, to give a new spin on the definition of lowrider art, this program is bringing all of my passions together and kind of giving it back to the community in a new and interesting way.
And you talk the talk and walk the walk as well. Tell us about the two classics that you have in your garage.
Yeah, so I have a 54 GMC pickup and a 67 Buick LeSabre, and both of those were actually my grandfather's. He bought those, back in the day, and he drove them all up and down California. He lived in Concord, and when he was done driving them, he passed them down to me because he saw that I had a really big interest in classic cars. And now I'm just, kind of maintaining them and giving them my own unique identity to them. But they're always going to be a part of the family, and they're always going to be his cars.
Yeah, you mentioned the Madrid family and how they developed the Lowrider magazine here in San Jose. But you feel that this is something that shouldn't die with your generation. It should continue with the youth and then beyond.
Right. So, it's the youth that are going to continue the traditions. We can bring them out as much as we want to car shows or embed them in the culture, but it's really going to be the youth that move the tradition forward and keep the tradition going and keep it alive. And so coming through this workshop, I hope that they get a new perspective on the history of lowriding, kind of teaching them something new that's been in existence for a really long time, from the founders of lowriding to women in lowriding to innovations in lowriding and how important San Jose is to this culture, but also providing them a new opportunity to give their own spin and their own artistic influence on lowrider culture.
You had mentioned that you began lowriding back in the 90s. What does that mean? Does that mean cruising on Story and King and down Santa Clara Street, or what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so back then they were still having Cinco de Mayo parades, and so I'd be out there on Santa Clara Street, cruising around Story and King, and then back then I was in like a regular car, just trying to be out there in the scene. And then when I finally got my grandfather's car, I quickly took it down Santa Clara Street and overheated in the middle of the road, but it's always on the boulevard. That's where I was at.
And this is the Mecca, right? San Jose. People were coming from all over the Central Valley and Southern California because they wanted to be a part of the cruising scene, the lowriding scene in San Jose.
That's right. It exploded on Story and King. It was just packed. From the stories that I've heard, people would be out there Thursday nights until Sunday mornings when the sun was rising up. They'd be out there just cruising, and it was just action packed from what I heard. I wish I could go back in time and just see that, but now I can see it in magazines and classic photos.
And you want to give the kids in your programs a little bit of that, right? You want to have an art showcase and perhaps maybe a little, I don't know if it's a car show, but some sort of exhibition.
Right. So at the end of the program in October, I'm planning on hosting a community art show where, the neighborhood that's around the SAP Center, or even anyone in San Jose, can come and check out the artwork that was produced over the course of the summer. The plan is to have a bunch of lowriders come out and fill up a parking lot, and then have the art exhibit, and maybe get some food trucks and some music out there, and just kind of create a cool little event to close out the program.
All right, Mr. Ambassador, great program. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing those great ideas with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. That's Ricardo Cortez, San Jose's creative ambassador. He's having this great program for kids during the summer, beginning in May. If you want more information, you can log on to 408art.com and find out more about how you can participate in the low riding culture. Well, we thank you for being with us today. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at @NewsDamian. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @NewsDamian Trujillo, and you can send me all the information for your events there as well. We thank you for being a part of our Sunday once again. We're going to leave you now with a little bit of danza and Los Mestizos de San Jose. We'll see you next week.